On today's show, the Suns soared past the Timberwolves without Devin Booker. Are they the best feel-good story in the NBA? Or is it Derik Queen? Today, it's Locked On NBA Game Night now.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
And welcome. You're Locked On NBA Game Night. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being every day or making Locked On NBA your first listen and making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in the nation. The nation of us. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be part of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long, unless you're betting on Jalen Hurts. Joining me, as always, from Locked On Knicks, what'd you see in the NBA tonight? Gavin Schall.
I've been spending all season on these shows talking about how the Pelicans trade was the worst trade of all time. Might be time to admit I'm wrong. Derik Queen's really good. He's really fun to watch. Good pick. Joe Dumars. 2 phones, 3 phones, 4 phones. He knows what he's doing.
Reversing course. Will we reverse course on the Pelicans trade after Derik Queen, a 21-point third quarter? We're talking about that game. They almost take down the Spurs, but the Spurs come away with a big win from their rookie themselves. We'll also talk about, Gavin, the Sacramento Kings. They hit another level of just another level of suck, another level of despair. I don't know what to call it, but we'll hear from Matt George a little bit later. He knows exactly what to call it. And then maybe we'll play some Count It Up, where we count on the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. But let's start here with this game. The Minnesota Timberwolves fall to the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns, just a feel-good story in the NBA. Doing some wild things with the level of players they have. They get a win. Let's hear from our guy, Ben Garcia of Locked On Suns.
Phoenix Suns defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves 108-105, stealing yet another victory from the Minnesota Timberwolves without Jalen Green, without Devin Booker. And it was the guy who I made a lot of people upset about last week, suggesting that Colin Gillespie should be in the starting lineup over Jalen Green. And no, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And Colin Gillespie had 11 points in this fourth quarter, was a part of that big 7-0 run to help initially get them up in the fourth quarter. And this team has a mindset, has a tenacity, has a culture to them that it's not just defensive driven. It's just, we are going to try really, really hard every night, and it's going to piss you off. Is it going to lead to playoff wins? Probably not. That's what a lot of other teams are going to do in the playoffs too. But what the Suns are kind of doing is the Nova Knicks style of basketball that never goes out of style, that works really well in the regular season. And it's one of the reasons why this team continues to stay afloat and continues to change your expectations.
The little jab there works in the regular season. I feel like that's just a little bit of like the twist in the knife, Gavin. Do you see any similarities between your Knicks and these Phoenix Suns?
He didn't mean that part about the Knicks, Nick.
Of course not.
No. It's just the playing hard part, because the Knicks conference finals, buddy. Show some respect. Yeah. Oh my God. I love this Suns team. I live across the street from the arena, so I've gotten to see them a ton this year. Matt Ishbia, I think rightfully, given some of the quotes, has taken a lot of crap over the last few years. When he came out this offseason, he said, we're scrapping all that. No more superstars. We're just going to be...
Forget all my dumb comments.
He basically just took like the Miami Heat court logo. Like, we're going to be the hardest playing, scrappiest team in the NBA. And you know what? Like, this side of Oklahoma City, they are. Like, there's some Timu Oklahoma City stuff going on. That was the analogy that I think of, just with like how in your chest they are defensively, like the extra effort plays that Ben highlighted. What's amazing to me is like they built this system, like Jordan Ott, I think, right there with Joe Mazzulla for Coach of the Year, like on very thin margins. And those margins are so contingent on Devin Booker driving, creating advantages, and then playing out of those advantages. Without Booker, there's nominally not a guy on this roster that should be able to consistently win off the dribble. And yet you see Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, Dillon Brooks, who coming into this one's averaging 28 points per game over his last 3. I mean, off the bench, someone like Jordan Goodwin, who's been on 4 or 5 NBA teams, like he's making big plays in that 14-3 run to start the fourth quarter. And they're leveraging the fact that they're shooting absurdly well from 3. I mean, Bouyer's at his small sample size, but 60%. Colin Gillespie, 43%. Jalen Green's barely played, 43%. Grayson Allen, 42%. Royce O'Neal, 41%. They're playing off that shooting, and you see them more than any other team in the NBA. They're taking like those double sidestep, classic James Harden type threes because it's on thin margins. They needed to create that type of separation. Grayson Allen had one of the craziest travels I've ever seen in the second quarter.
The step back, step through is a real move.
Yeah, into a step through, drained it. It was seemingly flagrantly illegal, or maybe I just don't know what a travel is. But like the point is, like they're like every inch they can find on the margins, they're able to get. They're playing hard. Mark Williams has been a really solid backbone for this team, and I think like look, I've made fun of Dillon Brooks a lot in my journalism career, like the gutsiness, the swagger, the borderline like clinical of insanity level of belief he brings to the table. I think infects this entire team. They fight. They play incredibly hard. Colin Gillespie's awesome. This was a great win.
Like the icon image from what this Suns team is that side, bench shot of Dillon Brooks standing on the bench during the whole like flagrant foul thing with Gobert, where his jersey is just completely covered in blood, like all down the side of it. And you go, that's it. That's what this Phoenix Suns team is right now. They led almost this entire game. The Timberwolves came up with a couple of leads, like 1-2 point leads in the third quarter towards the end of it. And then you mentioned that run to start that fourth quarter. Phoenix started a 7-0 run right to the start, and then they built an 11-point lead at the beginning of that fourth quarter. And the Timberwolves had a couple of chances down the stretch, and they just couldn't find any answers to this Suns team because the Suns basically just found more answers than the Timberwolves. But I think it was Austin Rivers that was on the broadcast that said at one point, if they don't have Dillon Brooks in this game, they can't create shots. And I was like, what world are we living in right now where Dillon Brooks is part of this? But he's been very good. He didn't shoot the ball well tonight, 7 of 20, but he had 18 points, and he's just been like a force for this team.
I mean, they just needed someone to like act as the alpha, and Dillon Brooks is very happy historically to act as the alpha until LeBron like puts him in his place. But he was sick in this. He was just very like he had a dream shake fadeaway at some point. Again, like it's swagger, it's confidence. But I go to Colin Gillespie as like the heart and soul on this team. It was mentioned on the broadcast a number of times, but he was on a 2-way contract last year. He was previously on the Nuggets, very minimal role with them over the years. He scores 11 points in the fourth quarter, 3 threes in the first 8 minutes. The last one, it was again, they got away with the foul. It was a pretty blatant push off on Jaden McDaniels.
He didn't extend the arm. He had the chicken wing out.
I think that should always be called, but I'm mad about that.
Kawhi Leonard could never score another bucket.
Yeah, different story for a different day. But like just a confident shot. Like anytime he has an inch, you see him firing. Like earlier in the game, ran like across the court from the opposite corner to get a rebound, reset the shot clock, and instead of pulling it out, just like shoots a fadeaway as he's falling to the ground. Grayson Allen, like all year long, like watching him in person, I'm shocked at like the athleticism you see from him at sides, like the audacity of some of the threes he takes. Like you see him, like they had that play in the first half where he missed a layup. Mark Williams missed a layup. I think it was Naz Reid who got the rebound, and he just makes second and third efforts, right? Tips it away to Dunn, to Williams. He eventually gets it to score. Like it is just second, third, fourth efforts. Like I feel like I'm speaking cliches, but just a bunch of guys who were not given a chance or disregarded from other teams. Like the level of dog Nick on this team, DAWG, just out of control, tops in the league. It's amazing to watch.
From the words of Najee Marshall,
dogs, all of us, all 5. Dog, you got that dog in you. It's no key.
That's exactly right.
How far down is that on your list of like quotes you can play? Like that's amazing. You just had that in a second.
I have that in my intro on my show. It's one
of
the best quotes. I love that Najee Marshall quote. The Timberwolves side of things, they collapsed basically, and they just did not put up enough of a fight. They had a chance down 3 with a minute left and 28 seconds left. They got a rebound, pushed it down the floor. Naz Reid missed a 3 off of a Randall driving kick. Anthony Edwards drives and gets a layup after some frantic Timberwolves passing where they just didn't seem like they knew what to do. Bones Highland, how many minutes do you think in the last 8 games before tonight has he played?
12.
Did you look this up?
I didn't look it up.
Total minutes in the last 8 games.
Yeah, I'm going to say 12.
A minute 29.
Oh my God.
In the last 8 games, and he played 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. They're just searching for any kind of guard answer because it doesn't seem to be Mike Conley. Dillingham, I don't know if that seems to be the answer either. It's like Anthony Edwards or nothing, basically, with them from the guard spot. And we should mention Gobert got ejected with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter for just a terrible like shove in the air with his elbow, where his elbow went straight into Mark Williams, and they ended up being a flagrant 2, and he definitely should have been ejected, and I was confused why he was confused why he was getting ejected, but it was basically a response because Mark Williams hit him in the head earlier in that quarter, but not an equal response there from Gobert.
No, I mean, Mark Williams wasn't, seemingly he was trying to make a play on the ball, and then Rudy, like, you can't retaliate just because the refs, that is exactly what they're looking out for. And it was so blatant, like he's in the air, elbowed him in the rib, and like the broadcast did a great job emphasizing it. It absolutely killed Minnesota. Like you saw the Suns consistently, again, without Devin Booker, you don't have a guy who's jumping with Rudy Gobert. And I mean, not even Booker's probably not even great at that, but like finishing creatively in the air with him, like Jalen Green as well. Like there's just not an option. Over and over again, you saw the Suns like gnashing it, dribbling under the rim, and just passing up shots because it was like, what are you going to do against that guy? And Rudy got off to a relatively slow start defensively this year. They're 11 points better, like in terms of net rating when he's on the court. Just an absolute game changer. And even if it's awkward offensively at this time, at times, I thought Julius Randle did a really good job setting him up for a couple dunks early, building up his confidence. Like there is just no replacement for him on the defensive side of the ball. And to your point, if they're going to struggle with initiation and like no one really outside of Ant or Randle is going to be able to create a shot for them, a lot of times it's Dante DiVincenzo. He didn't really step up. Nas didn't step up. McDaniels has been good at that lately. He didn't really step up. Down the stretch of this one, like you're left without a lot of options offensively. You have to fall back on that defense that's been playing better. Without Rudy, you don't have anything to fall back on.
Yeah, those guys, DiVincenzo, McDaniels, Nas Reed, where'd they go? 4 for 26?
Yeah.
Yikes. Not a good look on that one. Feel good story. Phoenix Suns, incredible. 14-10 for them, and they continue to win even without Devin Booker. But coming up, is Derik Queen a better feel-good story in the NBA? Because people are starting to rethink what they're thinking about that trade that they made over the offseason, including Gavin. We'll talk about that and more. Locked On NBA Game Night continues coming up next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook, all kinds of things that you can use to get in on the action. NFL Sundays, they move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. You're already living and dying with every moment. We know that. You're an everydayer. You're somebody that loves this sport. With FanDuel, you can place live bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up. Derik Queen goes off for 21 points in a third quarter, and you go, I think the Pelicans may cover this game. And then you're like, you bet on that. And then boom, you would have been right. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com, place your live NFL bets or NBA bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast. So can you. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Game Night. Being part of the show, making us your first listen, and making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. You already live for your team every day. Now take it to the next level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get a whole bunch of stuff. You can get ad-free Locked On Mavs, ad-free Locked On Knicks. All the shows that we have, you can get ad-free. And then there's a couple of them that are also doing some extra all-access stuff as well. So go check that out. We also have a Discord for everybody that wants to be part of that. And wants to do that. It's just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to the link in the description or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, Gavin, let's talk about this next game. The Pelicans have just been a disaster all year. The Spurs have been this story where you're like, man, we're really excited about them. Victor Wembanyama goes down, but they've still been good. They've been kind of coasting pretty well. The Spurs get the win, but the Pelicans I want to talk about because Derik Queen, just an incredible third quarter. Let's hear from Dylan Sanders, who's filling in for Jake Madison over on Locked On Pels.
The New Orleans Pelicans fall to the San Antonio Spurs in a game where a lot of people in New Orleans are not going to be focused on the final score. You know, at halftime, it felt like another...
People in New Orleans shouldn't be focused on the final score most of the time. I just want to, for your sanity, I just want to...
In a long line of these games where the Pelicans get blown out in the first half. Second half, it doesn't really matter. Their offense has been good since James Borrego took over, but the defense, they can't get a stop. The Spurs scored 77 points in the first half alone, and it just felt like lifeless in the Smoothie King Center. And then the second half arrived, and Derik Queen took over. He's been struggling in this new James Borrego fast-paced team, the game that the Pelicans are bringing to the court. But he took over in this game. They let him play his way. He ran the offense. The offense ran through him in a way we haven't seen in weeks, and it looked beautiful. After having 4 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists in the first half, Derik Queen finished with a 33, 10, and 10 triple-double, establishing himself once again as the face of this young team and sort of making Pelicans fans feel good about not having a first-round pick, as funny as that may seem, at just 3-22.
Gavin, are you feeling better about the Pelicans not having a first-round pick next year, even though the Pelicans have, they still have the worst record in the NBA?
I would have felt even better if they had just taken Derik Queen at 6 and skipped, even though Jeremiah Fears has been solid and has had some real flashes. But if they could have just taken Derik Queen, kept their pick, ideally, I don't know. I mean, added Darren Peterson to what they have going on. I mean, who knows? I mean, with the lottery, we've seen teams fall from 1 to 5, we see 2 to 6. We'll see where it ends up. It's going to hurt them, but it is hurting less and less and less every day, the way Derik Queen is playing.
And the way he's playing, like Dillon said, they were playing his style where he was the one pushing. He was the one deciding, all right, I got to cut here. All right, I got to go and attack Luke Cornett here. Obviously no Victor Wembanyama in this game. And the Pelicans were out. Zion Williamson, Jordan Poole, DeJounte Murray obviously still out. And so you're like, all right, who are we going to turn to in some of these big moments? And Derik Queen was the one able to get them an advantage where he's running off of a pick and roll, or he's handling the ball himself, or the assists. He had 5 assists in this quarter, and he's hitting cutters. He's hitting guys where when he drives, he is just, he's the next level of the Jokic, Şengün, Derik Queen. It's he's the next one in that line. And 21 points in a quarter. I think I'm going to save that for Count It Up. We'll save it for Count It Up. But not many players have ever done that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say he looked like baby Jokic tonight, which is probably sacrilegious to say about a guy who, in my mind, is going to finish as a top 10 player of all time. But I love the process in the fourth quarter, because this is so common with rookies, right? Even when they're having amazing games, their aggressiveness can go in and out. And he had this run in the fourth where he has a skip pass to the corner to Trey Murphy. He hits a 3, cuts lead from 8 down to 5. Then hits Trey on a cut for free throws. Next play, Trey loops and hits him for a lot. But it's almost like a quarterback going to a receiver, running the same curl route every time. Eventually the cornerbacks are going to start jumping it, right? And it's clear Queen wanted to pass. The next time the Spurs do exactly that, he tries to force it. I think it was to Herb Jones. Spurs steal it. And then he says, all right, bet. I'm going to start scoring again. Crossover, high step, Euro lay on Cornett. Doubled in the corner, and this time he waits it out. Right? He waits for the double to come, swing to Bay, swing to Trey. Just such a mature decision, such a mature pass, staying calm under pressure, making that swing. Oh, next time down, they're not doubling me. Great. Hezzy, in and out, at Cornett, layup. Like just the adjustments from him, learning in real time. That is exactly what you want to see from a rookie. Exceptionally smart player, uses his body, uses his leverage so well. We know he can shoot a little bit. He's a little bit more mobile than you expect him to be. At his size, slimmed down significantly from his time at Maryland. I know this is a high point in what has been sort of a slow stretch for him, but whenever I watch him, I see someone who's just incredibly interesting and is going to be a real building block for New Orleans going forward.
I don't know how the defense is going to work on a really high level, but that's something to look for much further down the road. For sure. Derik Queen also, with 28 seconds left, hit a shot in the post against Cornett to put them up 132 to 131. And then Dylan Harper, just a drive, extending finish with his right hand, his offhand finish, 133, 132. That basically won him the game. And Dylan Harper was awesome. He had 22 points in this game and came off the bench, 10 of 16 from the field. His speed, his athleticism, and then he's bigger than you think. He's 6'6", 6'7". He's a bigger guard than you really realize when you watch him out there.
Yeah, we heard the comp coming into the draft. I think was 6'5", 6'6", Jalen Brunson. And look, he needs to learn. Jalen Brunson is one of the best shooters in the NBA, and that's something Dylan Harper is a long ways away from being.
Jalen Brunson would love to be able to jump like Dylan Harper. Let me just throw that.
Yeah, well, there's that, and also 4 inches taller. But where you see the similarities is the sneaky secret of Jalen Brunson, right? Is turn every drive into a post up, Nick. You know that as well as I do. And I loved this was a couple plays before that finish, but he gets Alvarado and he drives and he's I don't have a speed advantage at this point. I do have a size advantage. Turns into a post-up, spins inside, then this rapid fire. And this is a move you see from some vets, but it feels like something that just come around the last few years where it almost looks like a travel to me, but it's just such a quick one-step pirouette onto your outside foot, spin inside after you've already picked up the basketball. And he does that for a righty lay. The other one before the final bucket, the rip through baseline, just the balance he has driving baseline to not step out of bounds, jumps between 2 Pels, including Queen, looping layup. It just feels impossible to keep him away from the rim. And again, once that jumper comes along a little bit, I just don't really know how you guard him.
No, I mean, he's going to be something else. He's definitely going to be a star and a team that already has one and may have another one in Castle too. And also in De'Aaron Fox, who I thought had a really weird game in this one, only 14 points. He's been playing really well for them, but they were running they were running stuff for Harrison Barnes in the clutch in this game instead of De'Aaron Fox. Fox got trapped with 14 seconds left. They had to call a timeout. There's just some strange things, but they ended up coming away with the win. So really good one for them. And another dub for them and the Pelicans. A feel good loss, like a moral loss. Are you a person that does the moral loss thing?
I'm a little hesitant to do it when I don't have my draft pick, but sure, we can call it a moral loss.
But you got two rookies right now, so it's like, well, you took your rookie early, I guess is what you decided.
Yeah.
Coming up, the Sacramento Kings. There's no feel good loss for them. Matt George will explain. Talk about that coming up. Locked On NBA Game Night continues next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by our friends over at Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile, you've got your wireless carrier, and there's no big reason to let it drain your wallet every single time. Every month, you look at that bill and you go, "Man, I'm paying this for this brick that just gets information from the sky." Right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All their unlimited plans are 50% off. Means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. The easiest way to take your overpriced phone and give it the full Scrooge treatment. And that's what Scrooge before he made the change, or I think they're talking about after he made the change, like after he was giving everybody everything. And what makes this even better is how simple Mint makes the switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. They let you keep your same coverage for a lower price. The service is fast, super reliable, even on the go. It feels good knowing that it feels good knowing you're overpaying just to stay connected. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees, initial term plan only. Over 35 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com.
Big chicken, baby.
I think a lot. I'm very smart.
Take that for that.
Count it up, count it up, count it up, count it up, count it up.
Let's count it up where we count on the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. Something interesting to me is anytime Matt George has a disaster to talk about, because the Sacramento Kings team is a disaster. They lose 116-105 to the Pacers. The Pacers, who are not a good team this year. We're missing Tyrese Halliburton, obviously, Aaron Nesmith, Obi Toppin, Ben Shepherd, and this Kings team is just something else. Matt George, tell me what you're feeling.
You see this? I had to buy myself a fake beam in the Golden One Center because I don't really see it too much anymore. And of course, I put it on a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons books because I have to roleplay the Sacramento Kings being a fun and interesting basketball team. Hey, at least they battled back from down 19 to take the lead in the fourth quarter before completely falling apart. If I'm being nitpicky about something, which I think I've earned the right to here in Sacramento, why aren't the young guys on the floor there at the end? At least Maxime Reynaud was. And look, he made a lot of mistakes down the stretch. He low-key got cooked. But I want to see Neat Clifford out there with him. I want to see these guys make mistakes. Do we really think it would have been that much worse had the Sacramento Kings had their young guys out there instead of letting DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Russell Westbrook lose again? No disrespect to those guys. Russell Westbrook had another triple-double. He actually had a fantastic game. Yeah. Kings showed good fight. No doubt about it. But with where this season is at, showing good fight just isn't enough to make Kings fans excited. Is the trade deadline here yet?
2 more months, Matt. 2 more months. Just hang in there, buddy. This Kings team, I mean, just a disaster. They were down, 19 points in the third quarter. They rallied all the way back, like he said, and built a 4-point lead. They had a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then they scored 17 points in the fourth quarter and only scored 4 points in the last 6 minutes. I was watching this on delay, and I saw it was they finished with 105 points, and I was like, oh my gosh, they have 101 points with 6 minutes left. They only score 4 more points the whole rest of this game.
I had the exact same moment watching it back, and you always do that, and you're like, oh, okay, ESPN got it wrong, and then you watch it, and you're like, oh, they're not going to score again. Okay, yeah, I guess it wasn't good, and I know Matt's been I'm a Locked On Kings guy. Like Matt's been happy recently because the Kings and Doug Christie have tilted a little bit more towards the young guys. This was the first time they actually started Reno. Before this, they started Drew Eubanks and just played him for 2 minutes and then put Reno in, which I don't really get the point of. If Keegan Murray, arguably the only two-way guy on the entire roster, which is not what you want, playing 38 minutes per game. I do agree, and this is something that Matt's argued for, like, it is wise to balance the vets and the rookies, because there's some into throwing younger guys out into the fire to like succeed or fail on their own. But I do think it helps to have someone like Russ, who like in his later years, like legitimately, not consistently, but for stretches, like a really good decision maker, great at manipulating pace. Like they had the stat on Locked On Kings. He's assisted Reno coming to this game 31 times. No one else had more than 10. Like he's very, very good at creating shots for young bigs. So it makes sense to have Russ out there. Makes sense to have DeMar DeRozan. Things aren't going well. Emergency release valve. But to Matt's point, like, what are you gaining at this point having your vets out there? Like it is just this march towards ineptitude that has no long-term benefit. Like, let Nick Clifford try to have a moment. And on the other end, like, at least the Pacers in this season that's lost, and maybe they'll bounce back. I know Rick Carlisle in a recent press conference had this whole thing, like, they're still trying, they're still competing. They're going to take this week with the cup to try to regroup and get a little healthier. Like, only 4 rotation guys, Nick, who have played in at least 2/3 of their games this year.
Wow.
Just a season from hell. But I thought Andrew Nembhard was a beast tonight. 28 points, 12 assists, like down the stretch, effortless 29-footer, like consistent big threes, driving at Achua for a lay. This was a play Matt was referencing, slow step on Reno, completely fooling him for a layup down the stretch. Like Jerace Walker's getting a chance to like stretch what he can do. At least Indiana's getting better. And the next time they're in the conference finals, NBA finals, like all those guys are going to be better off for it. The Kings just don't have that same trajectory. So you might as well lean into the youth.
Zach LaVine in the fourth quarter played just under 10 minutes.
Yeah,
0 points, missed both of his shots, had 2 turnovers. He didn't record a stat he checks in at like 9:20, but he didn't record a stat from 8 minutes, 11 seconds to 24 seconds in the fourth quarter. Like, he had 2 turnovers, but didn't record an offensive stat at all. That whole run. Like, what are you doing out there, man? Like, that's so frustrating. Let's hear from Tony East of Locked On Pacers about the Pacers side of this.
Tony East here with Locked On Pacers, up and out at Gainbridge Fieldhouse after the Pacers win their 4th out of 6. They're kind of playing better. They've played some not good teams, but they've actually beaten them. This one, 116-105 over the Sacramento Kings. Really impressive from their top 3 guys. Andrew Nembhard scoring like crazy, 12 assists. His passing has looked a lot better. Pascal Siakam, steady and reliable as ever. Benedict Mathurin hitting a bunch of threes, his first time ever, hitting 10 threes across consecutive games. Pacers offense just looks a little better, and their defense was the way they got it done late. They were down by 4 with 6 minutes to go, only giving up 4 points the rest of the entire game, as their offense scored enough to actually get them this win. They're playing good going into the cup break and finding some answers. They're getting a little healthier. They found some solutions with Ethan Thompson playing in this rotation. Their young guys are finding some pop. We'll have much more on Locked On Pacers.
I had to Google Ethan Thompson as soon as I saw him on the court. I was like, who is that guy? He's played like 4 games for them so far, but got the start in this game, which is an interesting one. Westbrook, 24 points, 13 rebounds, 14 assists. Only 30 times, 14 different players, has a player ever had 24 points, 13 boards, 14 assists in a loss. Gavin, there are 5 active players that have done this in a loss.
Count it up.
Would you like to guess some of them?
Oh my God. Well, Derik Queen got close tonight, right?
Yeah, he was close.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to say 100% Nikola Jokic.
Jokic for sure. 4 times.
Okay, and there's 3 other players left, or 4 other?
4 other active, or 3 other active ones in Westbrook.
Cade Cunningham.
No, Cade is not on there.
Okay, let me. I'm
just think prolific stats, guys.
Prolific. James Harden.
James Harden has done it 1 time, lost with 24 points, 13 boards, 14 assists.
Luka Doncic.
3 times. I've watched all of those.
Wow. Okay. I'm trying to think of LeBron.
The stats. LeBron James is the only other one to do it. Only 9 players have done it before that. So it's only 14 players total I've ever lost with that stat line. I found fascinating. And then the Derik Queen one I said earlier. No player this year has ever had a 21 point, 4 rebound, 5 assist quarter. No player this season. And the only players ever to have, there's only been 2 players ever since we've been counting stats like this, since we've been counting quarters on Basketball Reference since 97, have had a 21 point, 5 rebound or 4 rebound, 5 assist game. And
count it up.
It's Luka Doncic and Bradley Beal. And they both happened in 2019, which I found fascinating. The players with the 21 point quarter this year are wild. That was the stat that I looked up that I thought was insane. The ones before that you could guess. Curry, Luka twice, Anthony Edwards, James Harden, Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray twice, Austin Reeves. You're like, all right, those all make sense.
Sure.
Here are the other players with 21-point quarter. Like, you'll never guess these players. Obviously, Derik Queen has one now.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Oubre had one.
Wow. Okay.
Moses Moody had one.
Mm-hmm.
And Jet Howard had one.
I would not have guessed that.
Those are the players with 21.
This would have been a 3-hour show if you had.
Yeah, we just kept guessing. That one shocked me. Those are the only players with a 21-point quarter so far this season. Go check out Locked On Knicks, Locked On Mavs, all these great Locked On shows, Locked On Wolves to hear what they're talking about with that loss. And go check out the Everydayer Club for your favorite show. There's a link in the description where you can find that. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Game Night. Check the link in the description for different ways to follow us. Thanks for listening to Locked On NBA Game Night. Boom.